gonna encourage companies to abide by MSRP, Apple unlaunches their intelligence, and Nvidia might be getting back into budget GPUs. So let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're gonna be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Monday, March 10th, 2025. I want to start off by reminding you that we do have a PC giveaway going on over on Twitch, twitch.tv/UFD Tech. It's got a 9800 X3D RTX 5080 PC. We're going to be drawing that winner when we get back from a little trip that we're going to be taking this week, which is one of the reasons why there's a Monday episode, despite me normally saying that we're going to do Tuesday through Friday. I'm getting an early one in for you. And that's what happened with the RX 9000 launch. If you weren't one of the early ones in, you didn't really get these cards at MSRP, and it came out that a lot of retailers were having to reorder stock at a higher price than it was previously. But AMD has now addressed this by saying that they're just going to encourage retailers to keep it at a lower price. That's what's happening right now. So there's been plenty of retailers that have indicated that they are not able to hit these MSRP targets of $549 and $599 on the various AMD graphics cards that are out there. Hardware Unbox talked about this, and they got a statement from Frank Azor over at AMD, who specifically said that it's inaccurate that the MSRP is launch-only pricing. We expect cards to be available from multiple vendors based on the work we have done with our AB partners, and more are coming. At the same time, the AIBs have different premium configurations at higher price points, and those will also continue. So there's encouragement and there's expectation, despite the evidence of plenty of retailers saying otherwise, that they are not able to hit these price targets. It's not quite clear how far this is gonna go, right? AMD saying it's not true. Other people who are actually the ones selling it are saying that it is true. So we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. Are we gonna get restocks at many different retailers? Is AMD continuing their rebate program, which is what the encouragement is? It's not, hey, you should do this, but rather, hey, we're going to give you a financial incentive to continue to do this because it was such bad press that it came out that we weren't going to do it, that we don't want to eat that. So maybe that's what's happening. Maybe it's something else that's not quite the black and white that I've presented here. We will always keep you updated here on Hot News for that. And if you're looking to update your PC, you should check out today's video sponsor, Falcon Northwest, and their fantastic line of pre-built PCs. Whether you want the mid-tower Talon, the small little Tiki, or the frag box that's got a handle, which is in between, they have everything that you would need in order to build a PC that's ready for your work or gaming environment. You get their Tiki configured with an RTX 5090. You can get a Threadripper workstation in that Talon. And then on the outside, you can use their UV printing to customize it to exactly what you want it to be. And what I want Falcon Northwest to be is a reliable company that's gonna be there for their customers. Turns out they are. They've been around for 3 decades, providing fantastic customer service the entire time. If you buy a PC from them, you get a 3-year warranty with 1-year overnight shipment. In case something does go wrong, you get it back to them, they fix it, and then they send it back to you right quick. So whether it's on the inside or the outside, Falcon Northwest is gonna be taking care of you, and they're taking care of our audience by offering up a PC to give away in partnership with Intel. We have this Assassin's Creed Shadow Falcon Northwest Talon that we're going to be giving away. You can check out the link in the video description for that. It's got an Intel Core i7-14700K, RTX 4080 Super, and then again, that custom graphic that Falcon Northwest UV printed on it. So not only are they sponsoring UFD Tech, but then they're also providing things for the community just like they always do. So as always, check them out at the link in the video description. Big thanks to Falcon Northwest for sponsoring today's video. And you know what? You might also want to update your BIOS if you have an AMD Ryzen processor. Anything before Ryzen 9000 turns out has a microcode vulnerability that can be jailbroken. So researchers from Google publishing the fact that they have been able to find a way to hack the microcode of Zen 1 through 4, which is a lot of Ryzen products. And it's because of an AMD vulnerability called entry sign, where you can run an unsigned microcode on the CPU and make it so that the hacker can get information that, you know, you don't otherwise want them to have the CPU run differently than it's otherwise supposed to. It's a problem, however, it has been updated in some of the latest BIOS for AMD's processors. So just update to that and you should more than likely be safe. And you're likely safe from the RTX 5090 fire recall that got discussed last week on Friday's episode of Hot News because of a retailer over in the Netherlands who said that they had RTX 5090s that had to be recalled by Nvidia because of being a fire hazard. So we talked about it in Friday's episode that 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 retailer had already retracted the statement to Kit Guru when asked about it, even though there was evidence that they did say it to the customer, that there was an active recall for Fire. So Nvidia's come out and said this isn't true. And now MSI, the company whose cards were in discussion, has also issued a statement saying that there's just an unfortunate situation, unpleasant surprise, and that the allegations are absolutely false, and that they reserve the right to initiate legal proceedings against those responsible for these highly defamatory allegations, which harm our brand's reputation, as well as against anyone contributing to their dissemination. I disseminated it, but I also did talk about how it was also retracted. Kit Guru also did the work to find out from the retailer that it wasn't true. So if MSI goes after them for publishing the initial story and then also doing the fact checking and getting a statement from the retailer about how it was false, I think that'd be a crappy move. We'll see how all of that plays out. Keep you updated here on Hot News while Reece updates your wallet with better deals on tech products.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. And it's been a while since we've had a Monday episode, so I'll give you guys a sub $100 roundup, starting off with the Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2, which is the upgrade of my current daily driver, going for only $99.95, making it $59.05 off. But then next up, we have this MSI B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi AM4 Micro ATX motherboard, which you can grab for only $89.99 with included promo code, making it $20 off. And then lastly, we have this KTC 27-inch 1440p 100Hz IPS monitor, which is currently going for only $99.99 with the coupon applied, making it $40 off. And hey, with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I hand you back to Brad for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, it looks like Brazil is getting a better deal when it comes to Apple products because a judge has now ruled that in Brazil, Apple has to make it so that apps can be sideloaded, and that has to take place within 90 days, very similar to what we've been seeing in the EU. Now, Brazil has announced that they want that for their country of over 200 million people. Whether or not Apple is going to fight this remains to be seen, but they have already lost this fight in other countries. Maybe they'll just give in this time, who knows? But they finally did give in to the fact that their Apple Intelligence is not quite ready for prime time, with them announcing that their AI version of Siri, their more personalized version of Siri as they're calling it, is delayed, with them saying that it's not ready, and they'll be anticipating to roll them out in the coming year. So hopefully by the end of 2025 at some point, and I say hopefully, but really that I'm not hoping for much. But you might remember that with the launch of the iPhone 16, Apple's real drumbeat on this was the fact that these had Apple Intelligence. It's why they increased the RAM. You could get this personalized Siri. It's amazing. And they even had ads that they aired on TV with TV show stars talking about how Siri's awesome, but it turns out they pulled that ad now 6 months after they debuted it. So we're half a year past when they advertised that it was gonna happen. They also talked about how you should buy their new phone because it would have these features, and it looks like this is actually gonna be a feature set that's gonna be available on the iPhone 17, not the iPhone 16. Now, I have heard some people just kind of give Apple some accolades in the fact that they're not shipping out a crappy chatbot that's not ready for prime time, that they're not just trying to rush the product out with everything else be damned just to get their stock price high, because it's already plenty high. They're not pulling a Microsoft or one of these other various companies who are just trying to force AI into everything. They are developing it and they see it's not ready, so they're not going to launch it. Some people are saying that's good. Some people are admonishing them for the fact that they just kind of deceived people for 6 months. And it's also being reported that their smart home hub that was supposed to come out sometime soon is also delayed because it needed that more advanced Siri. And they put more advanced chips into their Mac Studio. We talked about this last week, that there's a new Mac Studio with M3 Ultra and M4 Max, and benchmarks are now coming out for this chip, with it showing that the M3 Ultra is not that much faster when it comes to CPU score against the M4 Max, which does make slightly more sense simply because the core count is very close together and the M4 Max is a new generation. The M3 really wasn't that much faster than the M2, whereas the M4 was a decent step up. But when you look at the GPU score, we're looking at about a 38% faster performance when it comes to the M3 Ultra GPU on the 80-core variant versus the 40-core variant, which is not quite 100% better, which is what it is, but this is a metal benchmark on Geekbench 6, so it's not fully indicative of the total performance that's going to be happening. However, we will have a video upcoming here on UFD Tech where we're going to test out gaming on the Mac Studio. We did get the M3 Ultra full 80-core GPU, and then also the M4 Max base level one, just kind of compare them side by side and see how they do. And we'll see how Nvidia does with the launch of the RTX 5060, because obviously none of the launches so far have gone particularly well. They missed the 5070 launch with the Founders Edition. They had missing ROPs and power melting, and it was a whole problem when it came to everything else. But allegedly, the 5060 is expecting to get announced about March 13th to 16th, so likely sometime in this coming week or early next week, we're gonna hear some details on the 5060 Ti as well as the 5060, and that they should be released sometime in April. Also, we're getting more details about their competitor, the RX 9060 XT from AMD, with some confirmation of the fact that it will have 8 or 16 gigabytes of GDDR6. Kind of already knew this, but there's confirmation that it is going to be on a 128-bit, 20 gigabit per second setup, which means that the memory speed on the 9060 XT is likely going to be significantly slower than what we're going to find on the 5060 Ti or even the 5060, simply because it's still just using that 20 gigabit per second GDDR6. Whether or not that's going to matter in gaming performance, not quite clear, but this is the worst case scenario when it comes to memory speed on the 9060 XT. But best case scenario, allegedly, that Nvidia might be getting back into the entry-level gaming market, maybe inspired by Intel's Arc B580 and them trying to pick up some market share when it comes to those subclass categories of entry-level GPUs. They don't want Intel taking that pie, they want that pie, so they're gonna steal that pie, allegedly, with a new RTX 5050 launch that should be sub $250, allegedly anywhere between $200 and $250. Now, this does kind of fit with the cadence of what Nvidia has been doing, where we had the 1650, but then no 2050 desktop, but then there was a 3050 desktop, but no 4050 desktop, and now allegedly a 5050 desktop. So this would be the first $250 or less GPU that Nvidia has launched since 2022, and potentially, if it does hit that $200 price point, it would be the first time they've launched a $200 card since over half a decade ago with the GTX 1660. Now, the way that they're going to drop the price on the RTX 5050 is the fact that they're looking at giving it GDDR6 memory. So it looks like 8 gigabytes GDDR6 on a 128-bit bus, so very similar memory profile to what we're finding on the 9060 XT. It's going to allegedly be the only RTX 50 model with the last generation of memory, but it helps to save price and cost, and allegedly this is going to be a 135 watt TDP card, so not necessarily something that can just be powered off the PCI Express slot, but also allegedly shouldn't melt with the power connector. But more than likely they're going to use a 6-pin or an 8-pin on this and not the full-fledged 12-volt high power connector. So it's not quite clear when the 5050 is coming out. There's also been rumored of an RX 9050 that AMD might compete with as well. We've seen these happen, and you know, with the 4050 it ended up being a mobile GPU. With the 2050 it ended up being a mobile GPU. There's a good chance that we do get a desktop 5050. Maybe it'll make it so there is competition to the B580, the 9050 and the 5050, all trying to get that sub $250, $300 price category. I'd love to see that happen. I feel like this is a market segment that's being continuously ignored and likely will continue to be ignored, especially as integrated graphics get better and better. Like, just looking at the Strix Halo chip, it kind of makes it so that with the profit margins they're making on that, they don't really need to focus on these more budget GPUs. Who knows how that'll play out? And how you guys played out in the comments of the videos that happened is a little salty. A little not understanding of what footage is. And, you know, let's just go through the videos we released this weekend. We released on Saturday our unboxing and kind of setup of the Creality K2 Plus. A lot of people cringing at how I took the item off the bed of the K2 Plus. Listen, I was on camera. I'm not used to these things. I messed up. I'm sorry. I'm learning. That's the whole thing. But we do have a 16 color K2 Plus printer with a 350 millimeter cubed volume. We're gonna be printing a whole lot of stuff. And then Z Shrink asks, ooh, I'm still so curious what you guys will create with the bone filament. And I said, we got a nice project in the works that's worth it. That's worth of it? We've got a nice project in the work that's worth of it? Brett, please, man. You need to be better when it comes to actually typing comment responses. We're working on a hand mouse that like you latch on, and we're doing the 3D print out of the bone, so you got bone on your hands. It's gonna be pretty fun. And then we had the S25 Ultra review from one of the new team members here at UFD Tech, Chris. We got a lifelong iPhone user to switch over to the S25 Ultra. A lot of people disagreeing with his points when it comes to the Apple ecosystem. And I just wanted to point out one of the comment threads that I saw with the fingerprint sensor is completely user error. I've had no issues, etc., etc. You're using the edge of your thumb like you showed in the video. He's trying to unlock the phone with his fingernail and not his fingerprint. Yeah, that's because we were just getting footage of something that we couldn't easily replicate. So we were just showing how it couldn't unlock when in normal scenarios, when it's not user error, it is finicky. It doesn't work 100% of the time. So it was B-roll, a demonstrated B-roll, because we weren't able to catch it in the scenarios where it wasn't doing that. And then DeSolter saying, turn it into a what? Because I said this. Photo or video, I wanna know what it is. You can also select part of a video and turn it into a GIF if you want. And GIF, why I say GIF like that, we released a short, you can check it up right up there, in case you want to know why I pronounce it like that. And then over on Friday's episode of Hot News, we got TJ Mitchell saying AMD finally did it and didn't miss an opportunity. 1 day later, there it is. Then Roma say 1 day only prices. You know what? That would have gone kind of hard for an April 1st release. You're right. That would have been great. That would have been hilarious. And then Sammy Puppy saying I got a 9070 for MSRP at Micro Center at 5 yesterday. Congrats. And then Robert Springer saying I bought that Pixio monitor yesterday. Thanks. UFD Deals. You're welcome. I'll be back here hopefully tomorrow for more of the hottest tech news. Our schedule is going to be weird again just because of travels that are happening for the UFD Tech team, but I'll allegedly see you around.